AI is revolutionizing all spheres of life. So is the governance getting, revolutionized by AI.
This inclusive framework of AI with incremental GDP growth.
We have created the Agri stack, entire data digitized about whatever is available in agriculture.
From a valuation side, maybe I'm not there. From a productivity going up side, maybe I'm not. So I don't think you can value a company in AI today based on the revenue that they're earning today.
In the last year, already in our call centers that handle customer service queries, we are seeing a 30% improvement in productivity.
The one thing we should probably not do is how we are wedded to Android and Apple, because we never flirted with the ecosystem outside of them, or with Microsoft and Apple again back in the day.
A power-packed panel here at the ET House in Davos. We are joined by an absolutely stellar cast of panelists to discuss AI and Viksit Bharat. I'll turn first to Devendra Fadnavis ji, the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Fadnavis ji, could you tell us what is your vision to enable, AI in Maharashtra?
So I think, as we all know, that AI is revolutionizing all spheres of life. So is the governance getting, revolutionized by AI. And we are trying to now embed AI in entire our processes, in our governance, in our service delivery. So I think, yes, we are looking forward to use AI more and to democratize AI more.
Absolutely. And how are you going to, you're a people's representative. How do you make sure AI does not remain available to the elites and it empowers everyone?
So I think, first of all, when we create the digital public infrastructure, now is a time when, with the use of AI, we can leverage this digital infrastructure to use it for greater public good. To give one example, now we have created the Agri stack. With Agri stack, we have entire data digitized about whatever is available in agriculture, whether the land records are there, the crop records are there, every single thing, every farmer. Now, based on that, we can create our programs. We have already started creating our programs whereby using AI, in fact, we can focus on different crop chains, different value chains. So I think in that way we can give access. I'll just tell you that we have created one app for our farmers using AI, and this app is a end-to-end solution. So any farmer gets gets a solution for any problem. So he knows about the crop cycle, he knows about what to use. He can even ask that now this is my crop is on flowering stage now. What should I do? This is my problem. So all these things are available, and that too in Marathi. So in the local language.
Can you give us a sense of what kind of meetings you've had in Davos with semiconductor companies, with AI companies? Give us a sense of that.
Yesterday only we announced Innovation City near Mumbai. We will be doing it with Tata Sons, and that will host the entire ecosystem of innovation. So I think today all of us know that.
How large is the city, sir?
So right now we have planned it in 200 acres, but based on what response we get and what ecosystem we'll be able to create, we can increase the size. And fortunately, it is just 20 minutes from the new Mumbai airport. So I think it will be very easy for innovators to reach there.
Wonderful. Sanjeev, let me come to you now. You've just released here a report called AI Edge for Viksit Bharat. Can you summarize for us what the report's key highlights are?
No, thank you so much. And I'll be brief, but let me just say that for us, when we thought about this report, the thinking was that while we're talking about AI could be very capital intensive. There was a thought process that AI is only for people who have deep pockets, who can spend a lot of money, etc. The thinking also was, and as Sir also just said, that with the digital public infrastructure that we have done, which actually contributes 12% to GDP, can that become the backbone of enabling AI to create outcomes which are inclusive and which can drive the aspiration that we have for a Viksit Bharat, which is something that all of us are working on. So, we set ourselves to put together a framework for what could be a framework for AI to create inclusive growth in India and cause Viksit Bharat. Because there are a lot of sandbox experiments that India has done. The question is, how do we scale them? So really, we have come up with a framework. It's a framework which we call the 3A 2I framework. The 3A's are really access, that we need access to data, because access to data is very, very important. Then acceptance, and acceptance comes because at times, I'm not sure whether the data is right, the data could hallucinate and so on and so forth. So the data has to be acceptable, it has to be free from bias and so on and so forth. Then assimilation, and that's an important part. The third A is a very important one, because what we're talking in the third A is that there is a role for government, which is the enabler, very, very important. There is a role for civil society as the advocate. And then, of course, there's a role for business as the monetizer, or the one which will carry it forward. I would want to say that this A is possibly the most important, because what we've seen at times is the reason that things have not scaled is that either the civil society is thinking in a particular way, the government is thinking in a particular way, the business is trying to monetize in a particular way. This alignment is very, very important. And this, we believe, this can result in institutional enablement of AI and all these sandbox experiments that we have done. Some of these will scale, not all of them will scale. And if we can focus on the 5 pillars of Viksit Bharat, which include agriculture, which include education, which include manufacturing, which include power, and we believe that if this framework is adopted by 2035, this inclusive framework of AI, which we are calling 3A 2I, can actually cause $550 billion of incremental GDP growth. And that is what the AI edge for Viksit Bharat really talks about.
Sanjeev, I want to ask you one more question for now. As you walk along the Davos promenade, you will see AI as a theme standing out more. Can you give us a sense of what kind of real action is happening in terms of leveraging productivity, leveraging AI for productivity within Indian companies?
So maybe I'll answer that in 2 ways. The first one, there are a lot of experiments happening. And there is some amount of success also. I mean, we just launched a CEO survey, which actually says that only 12% CEOs are saying that they have got both returns on the top line and the bottom line on the use of AI. And large part of that is because nobody is looking at it, to sort of revolutionize the enterprise. They're looking at, using AI to either cause some process efficiencies or some optimization on a particular, whether it is the interaction that they do with the employees or whether on the sales side. I think it's limited. I think there is this whole focus on the human element of it. And since you talked about advising people and others, I can only say that the best benefits of AI can come when leaders, including all of us, right, are setting the right tone at the top, because change management, because AI will change things. The technology will change things, whether it is process flows, whether it's the way we do things, etc. How do we get people to embrace that change is, I think, the bigger challenge than the technology itself. And that's what I've seen over the conversation, and I've heard also over the conversations. It's not easy. Change management is never easy. Our past success always becomes a reason for future failures or diffidence to do things. And that is the bridge that we need to cross. I think in terms of coming up with use cases or others, we are doing fairly well. As I said, that's more spotty as I see, not at an enterprise level. But I think we'll get there. I mean, we need to give it time. It's only 3 years actually.
Right. Sanjeev, let me come to you. Could you give us a sense of, in your own personal work and your own life, give us a sense of what are the tools you're using? How are you personally using AI?
Sure. Let me go from macro to micro. See, whenever there is any discontinuous innovation, and AI clearly is one, there is significant change that happens. There's also hype and fear initially.
Yes.
Some people lose, some people gain. Let's see industrial era, from agricultural to industrial. Let's look at when the first auto was created by Henry Ford. If you were a horse carriage driver, you were out of a job. Horses from transport animals became entertainment and equestrian sport animals over a period of time. But you had to get reskilled as a driver to drive a car. When steam engines moved to electricity, if you were a manufacturer of equipment of using steam, you had to convert yourself towards electricity. Internet and digital world more recent, and the same with AI. There is discontinuous change that's going to go on. You have to learn to adapt to it. But keep in mind, over these 200 years, the world has become more productive, more prosperous. Overall, things have gotten much better. 200 years ago, there was no concept of taking Saturday, Sunday off. Everybody worked all the time. You worked when you needed to. Then people started working 6 days a week, 5 days a week. Not because you didn't have work, because you became prosperous enough where you could spend the weekend on other things. And other things that you did created jobs for others to work on, like tourism, travel, etc., etc. Coming to AI, there are 3 stages of AI that I truly believe, and that's true with any discontinuous innovation. First is productivity. You will see significantly higher productivity. Across our financial services, some of our larger companies in the last year, already in our call centers that handle customer service queries, we are seeing a 30% improvement in productivity. So you will see tremendous amount of improvement in productivity. We do a few thousand marketing videos every year, and this is all being AI created, end to end. We have 80 million customers on our app. We know where they stay. We know what they're buying. So we created an ad which basically said that in so-and-so store nearby, you have your favorite product and it's on sale and it's relevant to you. Using AI in 15 days, we customized that into almost 300,000 individual ads.
Wow.
Earlier, you could never do that. Forget the cost. How would you do it earlier? When we used to do normal ads 5 years ago, it used to cost us say 4.5 lakh rupees for a 10-15 second ad. When we went to animations using animated characters 3 years ago, 4.5 lakhs came down to 4,500. These ads were 400 rupees an ad, and a lot more customized.
And how did they perform vis-a-vis the previous ads?
Even better, because it was customized to your own requirement in your zip code. So productivity, significantly it will increase. The second is effectiveness. So just better outcomes. Medical health, you get much better outcomes. When you think about financial outcomes, understanding customer risk, understanding fraud, so much better outcomes. And last stage will be innovation. Completely new products that we can never think of. But we're already doing 30,000-40,000 loans end-to-end with the AI product.
So therefore, do you see a future where underwriting, both in terms of loans as well as in terms of insurance and other financial products, could be entirely automated?
It very much could. Does that give you a better outcome than a combination of AI and human? This is yet to be tested. See, are we saying that the human is irrelevant? No. It's like, Einstein invented the theory of relativity, right? He had certain experiences, inputs and information, but he created the theory of relativity. I believe today, if that same data is put into an AI tool, it will not know that it can create something called as the next theory of relativity. That consciousness is still missing. Now, will it happen later? People like Nikhil fund a lot of these startups, so he
Yes.
have a better answer there.
Correct.
That we have to wait and watch.
Yeah.
But humans will also evolve, right? They'll also do better things, different things. They'll leverage AI to do better things.
Nikhil, in the language that you are familiar with, are you, broadly speaking, I think most people in the world today can be divided into AI bulls and AI bears. Which side are you on?
I'm no expert on AI, but from a valuation side, maybe I'm aware. From a productivity going up side, maybe I'm aware.
And have you brought to bear this particular framework in the investments that you've made in startups, etc.?
I mean, there are no revenues in most AI companies really to warrant the kind of multiples that they're getting. Maybe barring like an Alphabet or Nvidia, hardware people and people who have other businesses in place. So I don't think you can value a company in AI today based on the revenue that they're earning today. It'll more have to be on the utopian or dystopian extrapolation we make of the world tomorrow. And anybody can bet because nobody knows.
Can you tell us the different ways in which you use AI in your personal life?
In very generic ways. Some ways, like Sanjeev mentioned, but personally, I use it in a strange way to talk to somebody of late. Yeah.
Trying to process that. Give us a sense, Nikhil.
See, if you get married, you don't have a problem.
That's a strong recommendation from Sanjeev on the merits of matrimony. But on a quick one, Nikhil, could you give us a sense of? I mean, you have great familiarity with the startup ecosystem. You're certainly a advisor, investor. Apart from being a great founder yourself, could you give us a sense of the action happening within AI among Indian startups? Are there good, strong startups to look out for?
If I were to be candid, I think they're coming up. The mistake I don't think we should make is try and replicate what Western companies are doing, which have a lot more risk capital at hand. I think our proficiency will come on the layer above models, where we build utilities and agentic solutions to different things. If I may suggest, the one thing we should probably not do is how we are wedded to Android and Apple, because we never flirted with the ecosystem outside of them, or with Microsoft and Apple again back in the day. I think the time is ripe today to not get dependent on one platform like that, but hedge your bets across a multitude of them. In a weird way, it's like saying pick the open sourced Linux equivalents of many years ago. In the world today, the new version.
In your wildly popular podcast videos, including with Elon Musk, etc., is it actually you or is it AI?
I wish it were AI. Life would be easier.
Look at how he's creating so many videos with AI.
I think with AI, with all the talk of AI in the world, especially down the road, which we've all seen, contrarian behavior and nuance, I think, becomes increasingly important. If you were to say what a model will predict that you will say, or you behave in the generic manner that humanity behaves, or your peer group around you behaves, the upside of that is kind of going away. I think you have to be contrarian, because for a model to be constantly contrarian is a hard thing to program.
Very deep thoughts. Devendraji, let me now come to you on everything we have heard so far, and I think Sanjeev particularly gave us a very eloquent articulation of how in large companies like his, how AI is already beginning to be a significant force for change. But this indeed has a downside. As a leader of the people, you not only have to worry about those who will benefit from these gains, but also those who will lose out, right? In terms of jobs, job loss is a very real concern with AI. How can a country like India, which really needs the jobs, tackle this era?
So I think, of course, one thing which is easy to say and difficult to do is skilling and reskilling and upskilling. But we have to do that. Since AI is changing nature of every single job, so we have to understand that it is changing. But government's job is to create an ecosystem whereby we make people job ready, and for that we'll have to be very dynamic. We'll have to create different platforms. We'll have to do a lot of collaborations, and I think that we are also trying to do.
Right. So in Davos, we've been talking a lot. One of the things that's happening now with tariffs and geopolitical rupture, as it were, the discussion is that our country should be more self-reliant. We have a large domestic market, and that we should reform more. In India, typically what happens is every business is regulated by central government regulations as well as state government regulations. One of the commentary more recently has been that while the central government has done a lot to deregulate, and make ease of doing business better, local establishments are still affected by state laws that require sometimes a large number of licenses, even to open a shop, open a restaurant, etc. how can we do radical business reforms or radical deregulation? And can AI be leveraged to do that?
See, first of all, it's absolutely right that we need to bring more ease of doing business, and after the this trade war started, and after the tariff regime started, last assembly session, we have cancelled at least 17 laws which were prevalent for a long time. We have engaged with a law firm which is actually looking into what regulations are really needed and what are not needed. We have also created constituted a very high level committee, and I have given them a target of doing 100 reforms in next 100 days, and these reforms are again towards ease of doing business. But having said that, yes, AI is a solution, because you see, ultimately today, let's say when we started our platform Maitri for industrial investments, now that platform becomes more reliable because of use of AI, because we know what's happening. Now we are also creating one model for PMC, whereby building plan approvals is something which is a problem for many people. So anybody, any architect can actually upload their building plans, and it will tell what is right and what is not right. And this time we have created it in a sense that there is absolutely no human intervention. And recently at Davos, I was part of one panel where ministers of 9 countries were part of that panel, and it was regarding DPI and again using next gen applications. And one thing struck to me, the minister from UAE, he said, our next target is zero bureaucracy.
Wow.
And I was very happy that the way he explained it. And so I have also decided, I won't claim that I'll do zero bureaucracy this early, but I think that should be the target. And we can do it with the help of AI.
Yeah.
We can bring down, ultimately now in Maharashtra also, we did a lot of, business process re-engineering, and we brought down many permission regimes, and the flow of file that used to go to 20 people now goes to 4 people. But if we leverage AI, that becomes absolutely predictable, that becomes absolutely efficient, and I think by that we can bring down the entire bureaucracy.
Right. Sanjeev, I want to come to you on some of the international best practices. When you run, at least to my mind, what must be one of the most productive firms in the world in terms of the value that has been created over the last decade and a half in your group is incredible. The scale at which you make lending decisions, execute it, all really up there. But when you look at your contemporaries and counterparts in other geographies and so on, have you found something that you felt, my God, that's a tremendous application, we need to emulate it, especially something that leverages AI?
See, over the last 15 years, what we have done is every year or two, we benchmark what we think is amongst the best companies in the world. Initially, it used to be in our sector. Now, last 7 or 8 years, we've gone beyond that. And we have a team from our companies that strip down everything that they're doing through publicly available information. There is enough that is available out there. And then we see what can we learn and how can we improve. And our companies take that up when we do our 5-year annual strategy meets to use that knowledge. They will say, this is what we have learned from this company, this is how we think we can apply it, and this is a project we are creating for that. And over the years, I remember we in 2008 or 9 benchmarked HDFC Bank. We were just starting off at that time, and that was the top bank in the country and doing very well. But since then, we have benchmarked Amazon. For example, today on our app, as I said, we have 80 million customers. If you see our app, and if you see the Amazon store in India, it looks very similar. Because people are used to buying from there.
Yes.
So if they look at us for our financial products and it's a familiar layout, you're able to do that. Or for example, if you, on Netflix, you watched a few shows and movies, how nicely it recommends the next set of movies which you've never heard about or shows, but which is apt. how do we use that now, and we build that into our app? How do you recommend the next set of loans or investment products or insurance products to our customers as we get to know more and more about them and their requirements? On again Amazon, there is an option to use an AI tool called Rufus.
Yes.
And I was just with the Amazon CEO before coming in, that's why I got late. We are developing.
Stop name dropping, Sanjeev.
That's one of the Davos things. But we are developing our own version of that for our app because as people get used to more the AI format, which is just a window, you're asking questions, giving you the answers, the entire way in which today's apps work, the entire UI is going to change. So we work with the top companies and we benchmark the top companies. We benchmarked Starbucks a few years ago. They came under, of course, some criticism for other stuff recently. But the entire rewards, if you talk to your kids that go and buy coffee for 400 rupees instead of for 50 rupees like we would, the kind of rewards and points they get in the Starbucks app makes them go and buy the next and buy the next. So how do we build so we have a rewards framework in our own app. We benchmark them. So there is enough to learn from the world as long as you always are in a learning mode.
Nikhil, I want to come to you about, we tend to ask about, policy questions to chief ministers and, more senior people. But I want to get a sense from you about what do you think of the, business friendliness today in India? And are there avenues for digital governance or AI, etc., to help improve things?
I think it's getting better. This is live TV, right?
No.
No, okay. I feel like Devendra said, I've known him for a long, long time, when he was in power, when he is not in power, when he's in power. Being a politician is a tough job. And for all the people spewing hate on politicians in the last few days, the amount of meetings these guys are doing and walking in the snow in a new place, I don't think it's necessarily fun. So, the importance of being in a foreign nation and telling people that come to India and start something, come to my state. I'm not just saying it for Sir, I'm saying it for politicians across parties, whoever is here.
There are some politicians here that do deserve hate, although.
I don't think so.
Central Congress Hall, etc.
I feel like it's a very, very tough job. And unlike my job or Sanjeev's job, it doesn't come with the rewards of a tough job. So it is tough. And I think this is them trying to bring people in. Like that, they're trying on policy to do better. And if you were to net look at what has happened in the last 10 years or 15 years, I think we're definitely going in the right direction. We've had a lot of policy stability. Is there a certain distance to cover in the future? Sure, yes. But people are trying. And India as a country, I think, is also trying.
And in your work, I want to ask the same question I asked Sanjeev. What are the kind of interesting applications you've seen maybe in other countries, or when you benchmark your own products or those of the companies you've invested in, etc. Can you give us a sense of the best kind of applications around the world?
AI application. I met someone earlier who was talking about storing health data and learning from it. I think that's a huge application. I have done so many blood tests and different kind of tests. I've been on this longevity nonsense for a little bit, so I've done more tests. But
and do you upload these tests to ChatGPT?
I don't. I mean, I've tried it with ChatGPT, but I feel like a tool, medical data of one country, I'm hoping is never shared with another. So maybe it's a big opportunity for India, where somebody comes and builds a platform where they aggregate medical data and learn insights out of it. Maybe she is.
Sanjeev, on question of business problems and jobs in particular, whenever I ask people about jobs and AI, people tend to give a mixed answer. But what are your very real thoughts, and how are in your own industry? We can see Goldman Sachs CEO said, I don't need an entire sort of term sheet. 90% of a term sheet can now be done by AI, and I don't need entry-level associates, etc. How is AI transforming consulting, and what are your broader thoughts on how it will impact jobs?
Well, two things. First of all, to the point that you mentioned, happened to be in the Valley 3 months back, and CTO of a hyperscaler was talking to a bunch of private equity investors, and I served the industry service there as well. And he looked at our table, a guy from the strategy firm, and I had introduced ourselves to him. That people like these will get disrupted the most. So I think that's the general assessment, that we will get disrupted. I think the question is, how are we preparing for that disruption? Yes, we will get disrupted, right? The question is, how are we preparing ourselves? I personally believe, into the question that you asked earlier, that humans will always outpace any kind of technology development and any kind of innovation, because who is innovating? At the end of the day, we are the ones who are innovating. So how can we be left behind the machines, the technology that we ourselves are developing? That of course, I think it sort of the question that comes down to is, how do we skilling ourselves? I have been the advocate over the last 6 months that we need to certainly look at a rehaul of our education system, particularly in our colleges and our schools. The higher education system has to go through a rehaul, because if you want to be relevant, to what comes next, we will have to relook at our education system.
Absolutely.
The jobs will remain. I mean, our jobs. Today, I will be able to synthesize that data better, right? I mean, if the data, let's say, and we use tools like Harvey, we use the tools, and in the work that we do on the compliance side, we actually use AI tools, by the way, already to create efficiency so that we are able to do more. I mean, if the Viksit Bharat focus that we have, if we have to, the aspiration that we have to be to the economy that we wish to be, look at the amount of growth that will come. Who will serve it? It is the people of this country who will serve it. People like us who will serve it, right? I mean, I look at ourselves as civil society, we have business and government, and we have to work in sync. There is certainly going to be a need for rehaul of the education system. There is certainly going to be a need to invest in education in a different way and to skill ourselves in a particular way. But once done, I have no doubt that jobs will always remain. I'll just give one example. You look at the healthcare system. Can nursing jobs ever be taken away?
Absolutely not.
Can the warmth that you get with a hug from a person be taken away? The backing that you give to an individual who you were asking to sort of go and play a game, etc. Can that ever be taken away? It never happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the human piece is something which at times we miss.
Yeah.
We all say jobs will get created. We will have to do different things. And that's happened in the past. Sanjeev gave the same example. I mean, the horse and carriage example that he gave is a brilliant example. Okay. And the same thing will happen today.
Yeah. I also take heart by telling ourselves that a core newspaper reporter's job of going to a joint secretary's office, sitting outside, waiting, talking to him, trying to get some information out of Devendra ji, etc. That hopefully AI cannot take over in time soon. Such a wonderful note to end the panel on AI, because ultimately there is no replacement, as Sanjeev also said, and Devendra ji put so beautifully, to that final human touch that can tug at your heartstrings, that can evoke emotions. And Sanjeev said so beautifully how he's leveraging AI also to do exactly that. Thank you to all of our panelists for joining this discussion.